Fala pessoal, estamos de volta com mais um vídeo aqui no canal. Hoje um vídeo especial, dando uma pausazinha aí na série do Assassin's Creed Origins para mostrar uma novidade muito bacana que foi lançada aí no último patch, que é a Discovery Tour. Vamos dar início aqui, vamos ver aqui desde o começo. A proposta deles seria um tipo de museu virtual do Egito, tal. Você pode fazer explorações. É bem interessante e vamos ver agora como funciona. A princípio, o idioma português não está disponível essa Discovery Tour, igual ele falou ali, teve um tipo de conflito, mas não impede que ele funcione. Conteúdo a partir de egiptologistas e centenas de imagens de museus. Eles conseguiram gerar isso aí.
Welcome to Discovery Tour by Assassin's Creed, Ancient Egypt.
Bacana. Vamos lá. Bom, eu já assumi aqui. Tô com uma mulherzinha aqui que não é o Bayek, que é o nosso personagem principal. Começando por Alexandria. Bom, vamos lá. Vamos começar a tour para
Welcome
Alexandria.
to Alexandria, planning of the city. Alexander's plan to build his great city began with a verse from Homer's Odyssey. There is, in front of Egypt, in the sea with many swells, an island called Pharos. Guided by these clues, Alexander the Great founded his future city at the western end of the Nile Delta.
Beleza, a gente continua andando. Tem a opção de ir pra lá, vamos lá.
Though Alexander considered this location ideal for his great city, it presented considerable challenges. Too difficult to access during storms, the surrounding swamps threatened disease, and the limestone soil prevented the growth of healthy crops. However, due to the influence of his mentor Aristotle, Alexander the Great recognized that the true value was its strategic emplacement. Alexander knew that in controlling Pelusium to the east, Memphis to the south, and his crowning glory Alexandria to the west, he would create a triangular stronghold, allowing him to control the entire delta while giving him access to the Mediterranean. The Great Walls of Alexandria had a humble beginning. Lacking chalk to outline the future city's foundations, architects were forced to use flour instead. Clouds of migrating birds swept down and ate the flour, erasing the plans. This prompted Alexander to seek guidance from the oracles, who reassured him that his future city was destined to feed a large population. Excavations led by Mahmud Bey al-Falaki in the 19th century revealed that the wall enclosure measured approximately 5.2 kilometers in length and 2.2 kilometers in width. It was roughly 9 meters in height. These formidable ancient walls would resist a number of attacks, including fending off the king of Syria in 169 BCE. It wasn't until 295 CE that they eventually fell to Roman Emperor Diocletian, and this only after 8 months of relentless assault.
Aqui o que a gente chama um cavalinho para facilitar.
Alexandria's principal architect, Dinocrates, chose a Hippodamian grid plan. The grid maximized functionality, with wide, straight roads and canals running beneath them. Alexander recognized the military value of the city's design. The wide, parallel streets gave him optimal surveillance of the city, while allowing the unobstructed flow of troops. A central corridor ran from the Mediterranean's north port down to Lake Mareotis to the south. This thoroughfare acted as an unobstructed link for commercial trade and travel between the two ports. Many of the streets were bordered with grand buildings and parks, including Canopic Street, with its impressive gate bordering the eastern end. Alexandria was most likely built upon an already existing Egyptian village. Upon its completion, the Egyptians reviled the city, refusing to call it by its founder's name. Instead, they called it Raked, the building, as a mark of disdain, which was later Hellenized into Rakotis. Despite this, the name Alexandria would remain.
Beleza, a gente começa fazendo a tour pela Alexandria e ele te libera já para fazer as outras. Pelo que eu entendi, é isso. Legal. Então é isso. Pra gente entender aqui, a gente tem essas tours todas aqui para fazer. A gente pode escolher qual é o personagem que a gente vai utilizar, né? Se é a Aya ou o próprio Baia aqui mesmo, ou até um Júlio César, uma Cleópatra. Bem interessante. Até o próprio Ptolomeu. Deixa eu baixar aqui mesmo. E com o Tab eu posso selecionar. Por exemplo, eu quero ir para essa parte das regiões maiores, não pirâmide. E aqui tem o texto falando e tal. Station 1 Offset. Aí se eu quero ir para esse local, eu posso usar aqui o direito e fazer um fast travel para lá com o botão direito do mouse, ou se você tiver com controle, né? Lembrando que esse modo é somente para passear. Você não tem missões nem ninguém para você matar. Ele é um modo espectador, te permite que você passeie pelas localidades. Aqui no caso eu resolvi visitar essa pirâmide aqui, vai começar a contar a história. E aqui, assim que eu iniciar.
Welcome to the origin of the pyramid.
Vambora.
The origin of the word pyramid is controversial. Most believe that it originates with the Greek word pyramis, which referred to a bread of conical shape. Life and death in ancient Egypt were modeled on the cycle of the sun. The perfect shape of the smooth-faced pyramid became associated with the metaphor of the pharaoh transformed into one of the sun's rays in death. Pyramids represented the Benben, the primordial mound of the Heliopolitan creation myth. These stories permeated every aspect of Egyptian life to a greater or lesser extent.
Ok. Vamos pro próximo spot aqui.
During the pre-dynastic period, the development of funerary practices was different, depending on whether one was located in Lower Egypt or Upper Egypt. Well before the pyramid, there was the burial pits. It is on the site of Merimde Beni Salome in Lower Egypt that we find the oldest funerary site, dating back to 5000 BCE. Study of the tombs revealed that the bodies of the deceased were deposited in a shallow grave in a fetal position. Though a few objects were recovered from these graves, they offered no insight as to the social class of those interred within. In Upper Egypt, pre-dynastic practices are easier to study, but reveal more complex funerary rites. They are divided into two cultural phases, Badarian and Nagada. The Badarian phase ranged from 4400 BCE to 3800 BCE. Small necropolises were discovered on the outskirts of villages, revealing the emergence of a funerary cult. The bodies of the deceased were lowered into an oval grave and covered with goat or gazelle skins. Items needed in everyday life were added alongside the body. During the three Nagada periods ranging from 4000 BCE to 3510 BCE, funerary practices evolved in complexity. The shape of tombs changed from oval to rectangular, mimicking the homes of the living. The size of the burials increased and funerary items became more stylized and numerous. Tombs gained complexity, with masonry, wooden veneers, or raw bricks added to strengthen the structures. In time, socially stratified necropolises emerged. For example, in Hierakonpolis, the elite and commoners had separate necropolises. The term mastaba, meaning massive bench in dialectal Arabic, refers to a form of funerary architecture that was present in Egypt from the Archaic period to the Middle Kingdom. An evolution of the burial pit, mastabas were generally composed of two parts. A structure was built above the ground in the form of a massive rectangle with stepped walls, and a subterranean burial chamber was located underneath. Smaller mastabas often surrounded the much larger tomb of the king. These generally held the remains of the king's relatives and courtiers. The arrangement of the substructure of the mastaba evolved during the course of the Old Kingdom. From the 5th dynasty onwards, mastabas often featured multi-roomed substructures, with sometimes up to 30 rooms. Also, the quantity and quality of decorated surfaces increased noticeably, as well as the number of statues found within. The 6th dynasty would see art used to its utmost. The entire surface of a mastaba would be covered in scenes of daily life, illustrating the prosperity of those lucky enough to comfortably spend eternity near the pyramid of a pharaoh. The best example of this type of mastaba is the tomb of Mereruka in Saqqara.
Bacana.
The 6th dynasty would see art used to its utmost. The entire surface of a mastaba would be covered in scenes of daily life, illustrating the prosperity of those lucky enough to comfortably spend eternity near the pyramid of a pharaoh.
Bom,
The best example of this type of mastaba is the tomb of Mereruka in Saqqara.
bom, a proposta é essa. ela é basicamente ensinamento, né? Mas você pode explorar. Disseram deixar disponível para você explorar aí o interior das pirâmides, inclusive, e é o que a gente vai fazer agora. Pra cá nada, pra cá tem uma porta. Bora descer. Aqui tem alguma coisa? É impressão minha. Impressão, né? Parece um bugzinho do cenário.
You can use a mount to cover long distances quickly.
Não, mas como é que eu vou usar o cavalo aqui dentro? Aí não, né? Um barco. Eu não vi outro lugar pra ir. Ali, ó. Legal. É isso. Aqui tem um baúzinho que não dá pra abrir. Cheguei aqui na... Acho que aqui seria a tumba do faraó, no caso, né? Bom, então é isso, galera. A proposta é bem interessante. É educacional.
3 things are necessary when exploring Egypt: water, a good camera,
e você pode
an
tirar
omnipresent
fotos.
voice coming from nowhere.
Ele tem o modo foto aí pra você utilizar, né? Vou usar aqui. Vamos ver como é que é isso. Aqui. Ó, o photo mode é o F3. Então eu quero tirar uma foto aqui com o sarcófago do faraó. Legal. O acho que sai. Isso, achei bem bacana. Eu vou estar encerrando por aqui esse primeiro vídeo. Aqui tem uma coisa aqui. Vou estar encerrando por aqui esse primeiro vídeo educacional. Espero que vocês tenham curtido. Se vocês curtiram, não deixe de deixar aquele like. Se você ainda não é inscrito no meu canal, primeira vez com a gente, se inscreva. E até o próximo vídeo. Um abraço.